Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. This is Hazel Lucia Tarot. I am your tarot reader Stephanie, and today's reading is an interesting reading because I was called to do it. These are going to be messages from the volcanic goddess Pele, which is very interesting. She's not a goddess that I work with closely, but I've always been very drawn to volcanoes. So I think every pile will be different. I have not done the piles yet. I'm recording the intro first because I'm being very divinely guided to do this particular reading. So I don't even know if I'll put it out. I'm gonna try this reading. But she is a goddess of volcanoes and also of creation. She is a goddess of passion. She's a goddess of creation in a way. There is something very deep about her energy, something very nurturing, also very grounding. I haven't really read up too much on her. I know that there is a particular, she's very dear to the islands of Hawaii and as well as parts of Polynesia. So that could be of importance here to everybody. Or because I was also being guided to say this, she also resides within a lot of volcanic activity. So it doesn't matter which volcanoes it is. It doesn't have to be from those particular sets of islands. It could be anywhere in the world. So if you resonate with volcanic activity, volcanoes, or if they mean anything to you, I feel like this reading is for you. We have 3 piles here for you today. Pile 1, we have this gorgeous garnet. Oh, I love it. Garnet is a very grounding stone, which is why I was called to use it. Pile 2, we have black tourmaline. This is tumbled black tourmaline. And pile 3, we have a beautiful little shungite heart. I do not have any obsidian, unfortunately, and I wish I did because that is the glass made from volcanic activity. Maybe this is my call to get one, but take a few deep breaths and open up your heart, your beautiful volcanic passionate heart, and I'll be ready for your reading whenever you are. Hello there, Pile 1. If you chose the garnet, then we have your reading here for you about messages from Goddess Pele, the volcanic goddess of passion, amongst other things. But let's go ahead and look at the card you chose, and I'll have to keep this censored because her titties are out. We have divine passion. Be honest with yourself. What is your heart's true desire? So I feel like this pile, we're definitely asking ourselves about, we're being honest with ourselves first and foremost, but we're asking ourselves what it is that we want out of life, regardless of what that particular subject may be. Some of you could be asking yourself what you want out of your career. Some of you could be asking yourself what you want out of love and relationships, or even just out of your living situation. And it doesn't surprise me. I'm kind of feeling that some of you have been, it's not that you lack passion, or if you do, you're just trying to figure out what it is that you are and what you want. There is a bit of an aimlessness to this energy that I'm feeling. So we're going to go ahead and look at your oracles. I've already pre-selected these. It's been a minute since I've pre-selected oracles. I usually like to live shuffle, but for this reading, I've been, well, I was called to do this reading, and I typically don't work with the Goddess Pele, but I've been seeing a lot of volcanoes and volcanic activity, so I feel like she's been calling me. So I also went ahead and pre-selected these because I'm just meant to be channeling messages. The crystal card that you got was topaz. We have conviction, drive, and purpose. Crystal fact, ancient Sri Lankans were the first to mine and trade topaz. Sri Lankan jewelers continue to create beautiful topaz works to this day. Maybe some of you have ties to that part of the world, but with conviction, drive, and purpose, I feel like a lot of you are looking for a purpose in life or a drive, even like some sort of calling, because what I'm hearing is sometimes you don't really know what it is that you want until you start doing it. So for a lot of you, I feel like you're just being called to try out everything that you've ever wanted to try out. If there's like a particular class that you want to take, go ahead and take it. If there's a particular part of the world you want to go ahead and go to it. Even if it's just within your own surrounding area. I feel like you're in a state right now in your life where you're allowed and meant to explore what it is that you are and what it is that you want to do. And you can take that exploration to mean, in any aspect of your life. We have overthinking can spoil the magic. Yeah, I feel like some of you are putting far too much thought into this about what it is that you're meant to do, what it is that you're meant to be creating, or what it is that you are. There's kind of a serious tone here. And it's kind of like you're not being playful enough with the things that you want to achieve in life. We also have shadow work, integration, healing, and soul retrieval, number 35. I don't know if I should censor that. I'm just going to do it for... But she's diving into... This looks like it's underwater. But there's also stairs here. I feel like it represents really the steps we take to go deep within our soul, the steps we take to find that pearl within our own shadow here. And shadow work doesn't have to be that deep. Maybe some of you are actually doing shadow work. I know I do it regularly just as a way to cleanse my energy. And especially because I feel like for some of you, the past year or so has been very, very profound in how you've developed as a person, especially for those of you who have had like a very pivotal life change. For some of you, you've probably broken up with a long-term partner. For some of you, you've probably switched careers or have decided to do something very different. I feel like some of you have even stepped down from certain positions and now you're kind of a little bit in limbo, not knowing what to do next. The next card we have is vulnerability, number 23. Okay, just to be transparent and because it came back out, I tried doing this reading, or this particular pile anyway. I tried doing it like 5 or 6 times already. And every time I had difficulty in channeling the messages that was wanting to come through. But one thing that was very common was the notion of love. So amongst other things, I feel like a lot of you are asking yourselves whether you even want partnership, and whether that's, you know, just casual relationships, marriage. Maybe you're asking yourself what kind of partner you want. And maybe some of you are having trouble being vulnerable with people, because here we have showing up, honesty, and communion. Especially when it comes to honesty, some of you are having a hard time being honest, not just with others, but with yourself. Or maybe you don't know what you want, and therefore that it's hard to give an answer when you yourself don't know what you want, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Especially if you're casually dating right now and people want to ask you what you're looking for, and you yourself may not know what you're looking for. You just know you want to get to meet people. Take that if it resonates. I know not everybody here is looking for love or partnerships, and that a lot of you probably don't even value love, which to me has always been interesting, because I've never seen the world that way. But I do respect that very particular notion or that particular perspective. And maybe some of you are even asking yourself if it's an okay thing to not value love, because I feel like it does get shoved down our throats a little bit. But some people know that they are meant to come to this world to create something specifically with someone, and some of us just know that we're meant to do our own thing. And I feel like it's time for you to ask yourself which one it is, and maybe we'll figure that out through this reading. We have rotation. Maybe you go through cycles of this as well. Like maybe sometimes you are very focused on love and relationships, and then sometimes you're focused more on yourself, on the shadow aspect of yourself, the shadow work that we have here. We have wings, elevation. We have column, stability. I think one thing you constantly are looking for and reaching for is stability, because I've known people like this where they feel like stability eludes them, so therefore they don't want it. The same way that some people feel that they're not meant for something, so then they don't go looking for it or they don't value it. I say this because I've known so many people in my life who don't really value stability. I do, maybe because I'm a Taurus, but I know some people, when it comes to things like money or like finding a permanent home, things like that, they just don't matter to them. And maybe some of you are asking yourself if you can find stability or whether it's meant for you. There's a lot of things that you're asking yourself for sure, pile 1. We also have Phoenix. You are going through an absolute transformation. I'm going to put this here because the colors match. So you're absolutely going through a transformation, and I think there's a deck here. I think it's this one. There's a card in it that says that the edge of evolution is messy, and that's what I keep hearing. Interesting that didn't come through. So if you feel like your life is a mess right now, it's because you're in transition phase. You're in the middle of transforming your life in so many ways. I feel like various ways. So it may feel like you're even breaking apart, but the way you will come back together is going to be so beautiful. We have stairs. Lots to do with stairs here, and also elevation, which I forgot to bring up here, but I'll explain that in a moment. We have the hummingbird and the crow. 2 birds, 2 very different birds. I associate the hummingbird more with sunshine, or I guess with like the daytime, and crows. So there's definitely a complexity between your light and your dark, and that's beautiful. I feel like, first of all, as humans, we're all complex beings. We're not meant to be one-dimensional in this way. But I feel like you're kind of wanting to bring either those 2 things together, or you're trying to figure out if you're capable of being all things that you need onto yourself. And maybe this is why some of you are asking yourselves whether you want a partner or not. It's like maybe, especially for those of you who have been single for some time, I feel like you're asking yourself if you can do it all. And I say this as somebody who is, for the moment, single. And back when I had partners, I would have people who would be able to do certain things for me. And now that I am essentially alone, it's like I have to do all those things that they did for me. And I think some people are really good at being independent. Like maybe some of you are very hyper independent, but then some of you have decided that either you don't want to be hyper independent anymore, or whether it's even worth doing all the things on your own. And that's just one aspect of this. Let's get the last two cards and I'll talk about elevation and the stairs. We have receptive and warrior. Yeah, again, there's this juxtaposition here between being this warrior, this self-reliant person, and being more receptive, which for whatever reason I'm thinking of the Empress card. I almost said the Goddess card, where you can be all things onto yourself. And I'll explain why Pele is actually an important figure here for you now, pile one. So with wings and elevation, it's like, would you rather fly or would you rather take the steps here and there? And I think both are very much, I mean, with flying, you get there faster, right? With flying, I feel like you have to have the capacity to be able to handle things, a lot of things at once, or to be able to process certain situations a lot faster. No different than actually flying, you know, in the real world, taking a plane from one place to another. Either you could drive there, which is great because, well, you save a little bit of money. At least where I live in the US, you save a bit of money. And you get to do all the stops you want. You know, you are in your own course. You can do whatever it is that you want, listen to your own music. It's nowhere near as tiring. Or you could fly there. Depending on how far it is that you're flying, like if you're flying to the next town over, I feel like that's not going to be much. But if you're flying halfway across the country, of course it's going to be a little bit more, but you get there in like, you know, a day or so. So it's like, at what level, at what pace do you want to take your particular journey here? Because we have two cards with steps in them and one that even has water. It's like, I feel like you're taking this day by day, and maybe some of you really enjoy this self-paced kind of situation where you get to take the steps at your own leisurely pace. But if you're doing that, then you can't complain about how long it takes to get there, because I feel like you're solely responsible for being able to get there from point A to point B. Again, this is both good and bad. Good because you take things at your own pace. Bad because you may be going a little bit slower than you would like. So maybe some of you are like, how can I grow wings and get there a little bit faster? But the question then is can you handle things getting, you know, can you handle things coming a lot faster to you? Much like how people become famous, some people, they accumulate a certain amount of fame little by little, and then some people become overnight sensations or something along those lines. Like, I feel like, oh, my throat is getting scratchy as I say that. This is just an example, of course. I'm not saying that fame has anything to do with what you want, but it's like, how fast do you want to get there? And do you want to get used to the kind of lifestyle you are meant for, or do you just want to be shoved into it? I think certain people handle things differently, so this is up to you. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I just feel like you have to ask yourself at what pace you want to do these certain things. For example, if you want to move to another country, would you rather take the steps to be able to learn about the country before you get there, to learn the language if there is a language that you need to learn the culture, to, you know, just little by little understand where it is that you're going? Or do you just want to be dropped off there and figure it out? You know, I feel like some people learn better in certain environments than others. And I don't think either is wrong here. But back to the Goddess Pele, the reason I bring up relationships, whether we're talking about dependency or codependency here on somebody else, I was looking at her myth about her partner, and they have a love-hate relationship because her partner, I forget how you say his name. I want to say it's Walahea. But he is essentially a god of rain. And she's clearly a goddess of volcanic activity. But like I said, without the rain, you can't have any fertile soil. And therefore, you know, they come together in a kind of love-hate relationship and they create something beautiful. So I feel like for some of you, you might resonate with that. Again, it's like you don't really need that person. But if you were to have that person there, I think things would be a lot more beautiful. So it's definitely a whole case of love being an option. But it's like, don't reject it right away either. Like, I think people just absolutely don't like love and relationships, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I guess me personally, I mean, I am a Taurus and I do have Venus in the first house. So I have very Venusian vibes. I feel like there's something here about fearing that which you haven't even tried, which you haven't even had, especially for those of you who have been single like your whole life with no romance whatsoever. It's like, are you even open to it? Are you even okay having somebody all up in your space, someone very different from you with whom you cannot control, just being all up in your space and getting to know them? Because sometimes I think, especially people who have been single their whole lives, don't understand the freedom of being single, you know? When you have a partner, you have to keep up with them, you have to talk to them, you have to speak to them, and it can feel like having a whole other person to be responsible for, which you're not really responsible for them, but it's somebody to take into consideration. So that's just for those of you who I feel needed to hear that. But if this sounds like you, or if this sounds like certain things that you're going through, let's go ahead and move on to the tarot. Because quite honestly, I wasn't sure what to expect from this reading. I just know I was being called to do a reading like this. For my pile 1, we're going to start. Well, I want to cast some runes because I think I said in the intro that I don't have obsidian, but then I forgot that I actually do have obsidian rune stones. So let's use those and then we'll go into the tarot. Alright, so we are using the Star Child Tarot. What are some messages that my pile 1 needs to hear right now regarding their passions, regarding, well, one, regarding their indecisiveness or their maybe in which way to head. So we have serenity. We have to find peace with yourself. This is the Hermit card. So if those of you who are resonating with being either being in solitude or being single, I feel like this is very much you. This is very much you trying to understand yourself. So one way you discover your passion is like what ignites you, what makes you want to get out of your hermit mode, what makes you want to jump up and go do something is what I'm hearing. What lures you out of your hermit cave, essentially? What lures you out of your home or out of your room? And I feel like you find your calling there. We also have the Tower reversed. Some of you are trying to prevent some sort of situation. And here's the thing, I feel like it's already happened. And trying to prevent some sort of problem, the problem happens regardless. So it's understanding that things are out of your control and that's okay. What is some advice my pile 1 could use right now? We have the 4 of Cups. Again, maybe some of you have a hard time looking into your emotions and understanding why you feel the certain feelings that you feel, especially those of you who have come from a breakup, because I did mention that earlier for myself, but maybe some of you are also dealing with certain situations that just made you feel a certain way. And you're either not really tapping into that or you're kind of avoiding or skirting around some really harsh realities that I think even you yourself have to admit to. For example, the whole notion that you even feel hurt or that you even feel any type of way towards any type of situation. I'm not trying to put anything into this because some of you may not even understand. Like maybe, and I had a reading like this earlier where I was talking a lot about jealousy, where it was my person that I was reading for, the viewer, that was actually the one going through bouts of jealousy. And the whole time, like I kept reading into that energy and then I noticed halfway through, it's like, oh wow, maybe my viewer doesn't even understand that they are jealous. I feel like some of you have the potential and a want to be very emotionally aware of yourself so that you don't have to end up being emotionally closed off or emotionally unavailable in some cases, because this is how it begins. The reason people are emotionally unavailable is because they don't want to look within themselves to see what is going on within their heart, within their mind, within their head. And I feel like this reading found you so that you could easily avoid becoming that very thing which ended up hurting you in the process, because after all, we're trying to avoid a vicious cycle or the what's it called, trying to do the same harm that people have done to us onto somebody else, because it's easy to want to take on those particular attributes and just, you know, I don't think we want to perpetuate any negativity here. Therefore, you have to be very honest with yourself about what it is that you are feeling and what it is that you are going through. Let's go ahead and get more cards. I'm going to get 2 more. Anything else that my pile 1 needs to know, and then we'll get some clarifiers. You have the Chariot. For a lot of you, you feel like you're very stagnant in life. And again, there's something about moving forward that is kind of, it's not that you're in conflict with it. It's more like you're wondering when things will happen. And like I said, you could either take it day by day at your own pace, in a pace that you are comfortable, or you could just get there and then, again, it's like if you were to be instantly transported there, I don't know if you'd be able to handle it just as easily, because that itself would be a tower moment. It's like 1 minute you are slowly trying to get from point A to point B, and then the next it's like you're right there and you have to, it's overstimulation that you are trying to avoid, especially for those of you who do get overstimulated very easily. So find comfort in the fact that you are taking things at your pace as opposed to things happening. And this is different from things being blocked here. So my next question will be, is there anything preventing my pile 1 from achieving whatever it is that they want? What is the main thing blocking them? We have the Knight of Swords. A lack of information or a lack of honesty is what I'm hearing, which I typically don't read the Knight of Swords as honesty, but this is what it's coming through, because the Knight of Swords, if you were to see it as, for example, in astrology, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or even Sagittarius, because I feel like Sagittarius is really good at being honest and blunt, but it's more like needing to hear and understand the things that they need to hear and understand. I feel like there's, again, a particular truth that you yourself are not accepting of yourself or from somebody else. Maybe people have been telling you this and you don't really want to believe what they have to say. But I feel like, especially if this is coming from somebody who you know has good intentions and has nothing but pure love in their heart for you, or how else would I say? Like somebody who has nothing to gain from you would be saying this. I feel like there's something here about them being very honest with you. So the one thing getting in your way is just not accepting certain facts. Let's go ahead and get clarifiers on this. And this isn't to say that whatever you want is a no. It's more like, because I'm already hearing that some of you think that something's just not meant to happen. It's not that it's a no, it's that you're going about it the wrong way. So let's go ahead and clarify the Hermit card here. You have 2 of Pentacles. Yeah, like I said, there's a balance here. If you're too much in Hermit energy, you become a recluse and nobody knows anything about you. And you also kind of shut off the universe from being able to bring things to you. But you also want to be able to be outgoing enough that you go for the things you want, that the things you want find you as well. Let's go ahead and clarify the Tower card. For my pile 1. We have the World. There's a deep understanding that, again, you cannot control the Tower moment. The Tower moment will happen regardless, because that's exactly what makes it a Tower moment, right? It's that which cannot be helped. Much like a volcano. I mean, as long as you stay far, far away from it and you don't endanger anything, or it doesn't endanger anybody else, it's a necessary eruption, because like I said, volcanoes, they create land, they create fertile soil. So in understanding that things that are inescapable and that cannot be helped are just a part of life, I feel like you gain some sense of control, at least over the way you see those very things. You can't control things from happening or not happening, but you can accept that they will happen or may not happen. So therefore, it's better to just be prepared for that whole situation. That's what I'm getting from the World card here. Let's clarify the 4 of Cups. What emotions are needing to be released? Or what exactly are we not seeing here for my pile 1? We have the Page of Crystals. Where have you been laying down your roots? What have you been putting effort towards? Because again, the notion of fertility is coming through here, but it's like you have planted your seeds. Now, are you watering your garden? Are you nourishing your garden? Are you giving it light, sunlight? Are you bringing good things to it? I feel like a lot of you have already started the beginning stages of something here. But again, it's like you want things to happen a lot faster. There is something to be said about patience here, but it's a little bit more than just the patience. It's a little bit more than just what is being seen. Let's go ahead and clarify the Chariot reversed. Would it be better for my pile 1 to, well, what pace should they be taking, I guess? And I'm going to get 2 cards for this. We have the Page of Swords. Whatever this is, for a lot of you, you have to become more informed, because Swords energy is coming through as in, like, either you're not very, you don't yet have all the details, or you have to plan a little bit more, like you have to put a little bit more planning into this. And the Queen of Crystals. Again, this has something to do with your comfort level. Things are happening in divine timing for you, believe it or not. Whatever pace you are currently at, they're happening in divine timing because of your comfort levels. So either play around with your own comfort levels by, well, I guess it depends on how you would do this. Like, let's say you are trying to move to a particular country. I feel like get out of your comfort level and go to somewhere in your area and just, well, how do I say this? Not saying that you're going to intrude upon that neighborhood or culture or anything, but it's kind of like just throw yourself into that area where you already know they speak that language, where they have that food, where they have a very similar mentality to the place where you're going. Because there's something to be said about just getting used to the area. I know that sounds weird, but I'm getting that for some of you. And then for others of you, let's say you were working in a certain, well, you're studying for a certain field. I'm hearing to go ahead and find a job in that same sector so that when it comes time to actually get a job in that sector, you already have some sort of background for it. So let's say you are getting a medical degree or some sort of a job in a medical field. Go ahead and start working in that same area, in that same field. Something along those lines. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if that's how that actually works, but let's say you're in beauty school and you haven't graduated yet, or you haven't had the certifications yet. Working in a salon as a receptionist who doesn't really do much but gets to learn about the job will definitely help you. And I feel like something along those lines, it will also help you to see whether it's something you want to do or not, because it's not all about, you know, it's like surround yourself with the very thing that you want to achieve or become or do. If you want a partnership, get around people who already have partners and see exactly how it is to have a partner. That's just for those of you who have never had one. Let's go ahead and clarify this Knight of Swords, though. Because I want to know what it is that you don't know, or what, because this is what's getting in the way. This is the blockage. So what information needs to be revealed here? We have the Knight of Wands. And it's interesting because I associate the Knight of Wands with passion. I think what you need to understand is that for some of you, the things you're actually going for doesn't really bring the passion that you need, or you're not really passionate for it anymore. And why is that? And now I'm curious, why exactly is that? We have the Ace of Cups because there's something better for you out there, especially those of you who are thinking about romance. It's like if you feel like you don't really want to be dating right now, it's because your person hasn't arrived yet. There's going to be somebody out there who is going to do that very thing for you that wakes up your heart, because it's kind of like you're in an emotional stasis because you're not meant to be emotionally tapped in. You're meant to be focusing on yourself. For those of you who are looking for a career, it may be that right now you just don't feel passionate towards your career because there's something about your career field that is actually not calling to your soul, to your emotions, especially for those of you who have things like a moon in a water sign. I have moon in Pisces, amongst a lot of other things in Pisces. If something doesn't move me emotionally, I want nothing to do with it. And and it's inconvenient sometimes because, you know, the life doesn't operate that way. You know, the world doesn't cater to people's emotions, at least not in an honest way. I mean, you could be talking about, if we're talking about advertising and whatnot, I feel like, yes, advertising does cater to people's emotion, but it's more in a manipulative way to get them to buy things. But that's not what we're talking about here. I feel like for a lot of you, you need to be moved within your heart to do something. There's like a lack of passion here. There's a lack of emotional comfort for you even. So I feel like for a lot of you, we're dealing with feeling isolated because right now things are not meant to move forward or progress forward as fast. And another reason why that is because you're not seeing the truth that your heart isn't in it right now. Your heart just simply isn't in it. Let's go ahead and get some runes though. My obsidian runes. Obsidian is usually it's volcanic glass, so, and I was told to get a lot. So we have Therisaz, Wunjo, Lagus. A lot of you are healing from a particular situation. And for a lot of you, this has to do with love, whether it was romantic love or the love that you were not given as a child. And I feel like that's really affected your social relationships or even just relationships with people in general. So right now, it's more like you're focusing much more on yourself and trying to bring joy to yourself. And only then will you actually gain some sense of feeling right in the world. It's like once you accept that all you need is yourself to be happy, you will be able to truly enjoy things here in the world. And I know I'm reading the runes a little differently. Usually I read them like one by one, but right now it's kind of like there's a story here. I feel like for a lot of you, you really do have to bring your own sense of fulfillment in order to feel happy. So it's like, even if you, for example, if you were to find that for a lot of you, you're looking outside of yourself to look for joy. So you think a particular job or a particular place or a particular person is going to bring you this joy. And the truth is, it's all going to come from you. And the one way you find that is through digging deeply through the things in your past that have made you feel that you were unworthy of joy, or that something else in your life had to bring this to you. Back of the deck, because I didn't even look at it. Yeah, 8 of Swords. And I like this. Here she's not wearing the blindfold, but in the Rider-Waite she usually has a blindfold. And it's like we're slowly taking it off. If we were to take this reverse, it's like we're no longer being held hostage by our own fears. We're no longer going to be held hostage by our own perceived notions of being incapable of loving or being loved. For a lot of us, it's taking ownership of your own joy here, taking ownership of your own passion, and understanding that even though having something or somebody that fulfills us is wonderful, we're only going to feel as fulfilled as we allow ourselves to be fulfilled here. So this is beautiful energy, and I really do hope this makes sense to you, pile 1, because I didn't know what to expect coming into this reading, but now it all makes sense. You're looking for something, and the truth is, whatever you're looking for has been within yourself this whole time. It's very much one of those things where you have to feel it and believe in it before you see it. So we're going to close this off with some advice here. And let's start with the Let Go cards. So for my, okay, that one came through. Let's get another one. For my pile 1. Your cards have just been falling all over the place. When I was pre-selecting them, they just kept popping up. Okay, so we have this one, which I like to see as a mirror image. Because for some of you, especially if you believe in the whole twin flames things, which is like one flame, 2 people, I feel like you're just looking for people who resonate with you. You are supposed to and will have helpers whenever you need them. Let them come. For a lot of you, this is just confirmation that there are people out there for you, whether it's a social group, a person, or just even a place that really calls to you, that is meant to support you. But you have to support yourself first. And once that vibration of you supporting yourself has been set, it's like everything else will fall into place. And then we have this one, and she looks very happy here. Reach, stretch, breathe, believe. What can you let go of to feel maximum joy? Yeah, for some of you, maybe you're holding on to certain notions, preconceived ideas, or whatever the case may be that is preventing you from really experiencing joy. So go out of your way to experience joy at its fullest. Also with stretch, reach, and breathe, I kind of was thinking of yoga. And I know all this morning my guides have been telling me to do yoga. So I might just do that after I'm done with this reading pile 1. And I invite you to do so as well. And literally as I said that, there was a breeze on my... Oh, wow, yeah, there's a breeze. Just confirmation. I invite you to do some yoga, even if it's just in your chair, stretch. You know, take a few deep breaths and stretch. And you'd be surprised how great you feel after doing a little bit of that. But I say this as a former yoga instructor. All right, let's get the rest of your cards. We have... My true safety lies in my capacity to align with the love of the universe. Yeah, and I feel like that's what I've been trying to say this whole reading. You will feel comfortable within your skin, within yourself, once you understand and align with the beauty that the universe has to offer you. And my left ear just started ringing really, really hard as I said that. Okay, 2 more cards. You have, when I cultivate a spiritual connection, I can trust the universe no matter what. So for some of you, you could be asked to cultivate or recultivate a connection with the universe. And usually it just means, you know, take up meditation or just get out in nature and walk and just feel at one with the universe. And it's interesting that we have red and green here. So for some of you, this is a combination of the heart chakra as well as the root chakra. And interestingly enough, I kind of see this as like the lava that fertilizes the earth, which, you know, thanks, Pele. I feel my way into faith one step at a time. Something about steps is so important for this pile. It's like you are taking everything one step at a time. You are literally crossing this bridge from one point to another. So don't be hard on yourself that things haven't happened yet. Don't be hard on yourself that you feel there's some sort of ticking clock that is meant, that you feel like you're meant to be somewhere right now. I feel like you're exactly where you need to be. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how far along everybody else is telling you that you should be. You're exactly where you need to be at this moment in time, because you were meant to live out your life in the divine timing that you set for yourself. Because divine timing isn't always timing from some unseen force that you may or may not always believe in. It's also divine timing for yourself, your own pace. And I wish there had been times where I had listened to myself about what it is that I should do, instead of going along with everybody else's idea of what timing is, because I feel like I would have saved myself from a lot of hurt. And then there are times I wish I had gone faster. You know, listen to yourself and don't worry about what people are telling you. You know exactly when you're supposed to do something here, pile 1. But this is where I leave it. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care. Hello there, pile 2. If you chose the black tourmaline tumbled for this reading, then we have your reading here for you about messages from the Goddess Pele, specifically talking about your passions and where they are meant to lead you. So I have a song stuck in my head for you, but I don't think it's meant to be taken romantically, oddly enough. It's Dolly Parton's Jolene, but I was reflecting on that song for a moment, and I'm here. It's about how like some woman is after another woman's man. But what I'm really getting here is a rivalry. So I feel like some of you, we are dealing with a rivalry, like either somebody who sees you as competition, or somebody that you may see as competition, or maybe even just how you measure yourself up against other people. That's not going to be everybody. So if that doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to take that, of course. But just because I have that song in my head right now, I feel like some of you, you're dealing with competition or even comparing yourselves to other people. The card you chose says purpose, Pele, purpose. And she is a goddess of volcanic activity, volcanoes. And among that, I kind of associate her with fertility and rebirth as well. Specifically fertility, because volcanic lava makes some very fertile soil. But let's go ahead and get your cards. I've pre-selected them. I don't typically do that anymore, but I've decided to do that for this reading. But let's go ahead and get your cards. We have Journey, Labyrinth. There's something confusing about the journey that you are on. Also about the people you encounter on this journey. It wouldn't surprise me if you meet certain people that kind of become catalysts for the kind of person you yourself are supposed to become, or the things that you are meant to be turned onto, if that makes any sense. For example, I feel like, I'll use myself as an example. The whole reason I even got into tarot, because I'll be honest, I kind of avoided the cards for a long time, especially in my youth, because I was always told not to believe in tarot readers or cards or anything. And then oddly enough, I become a really good reader, at least among the people that I knew at the time. But the only reason I got into tarot at all was because I encountered a friend in college who was very much into this, and she wanted me to read for her. Oddly enough, I feel like if I hadn't met her, it would have taken me a lot longer to get into tarot, honestly. But there's something about your journey where you're meant to encounter certain people who are going to turn you to different things in life. We also have feline independence. Yeah, but for a lot of you, I feel like you're already very independent. So it's likely that a lot of the people you meet in your life journey may or may not stay, or they could just be like occurrences here. I feel like a lot of you feel alone in this world. And I mean, I feel like that's how we're meant to be. We're all meant to be independent people who light up each other through community and through love, whatever form of love that may be for you. Because it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be more friend-like love, more familial love, whatever kind of love you have for people. It's a compassion that we have for people here. We also have devoted. I really love your energy, pile 2. I feel like you're somebody who, for the most part, you have yourself figured out. But there's a part of you that well, let's see what the deal with you is, because I'm not saying that you have a problem or anything, but I love this energy where you're very independent, you're very devoted, not just to yourself, but to other causes as well. It's like you put your entirety into everything because you understand who you are. A lot of you are very self-reflective, or at the very least, you're at a point in your life where you understand yourself very well. So it's kind of hard for people to tell you who you are or who you are not. And I feel like this is why you kind of gather jealousy from people. This is probably why you have a lot of rivals that maybe you don't see them that way, but they definitely see you that way. Because another image I was getting when I was tapping into your energy was Goku from Dragon Ball. And if you've never seen the anime, I'm not asking you to, but he's very strong and he loves competition to see who is the best fighter, the strongest fighter, etc. But he sees this all as like a very fun and playful thing. Like, to him, he loves rivals because he likes to measure himself up against it, but he doesn't take it seriously. Meanwhile, he attracts a lot of like rivals, Vegeta for example, who kind of he has a hate toward Goku because Goku is just so happy-go-lucky about this. So I feel like you have a similar dynamic here. Maybe you're even thinking of a specific person who could be this way toward you. But it's kind of like you put your all into everything. You definitely have a very quiet and tamed kind of passion in life, and that allows you to become truly the best at whatever it is that you want to be. Love this energy pile too. We also have the lighthouse. Yeah, it's like you lighten up people. You're the lighthouse beckoning people towards you. You have a kind of magnetism that draws, yes, a lot of great people into your life, but also people who can be kind of haters. Like, not gonna lie, it's like you shine so brightly that people who hate the light are just hissing at your brightness. We have the bow. So some of you could be Sagittarius. I'm getting Sagittarius energy with this, or you could literally be into archery. But I'll go into depth about that in a moment. It's like you shoot for the stars and you have really good aim. We also have Vegvisir. And I know this is an Icelandic symbol. You know what's odd? Whenever I think of volcanoes, the first two places that come to mind, I mean, one of them is obviously Hawaii because we're talking about Pele here, and that's her home. But I also think of Iceland. Like, for me, volcanic activity, for whatever reason, has always been very Icelandic to me. Maybe because I grew up listening to Bjork and she talks a lot about, her beautiful country. So I'm not surprised. I'm also going to do runes with my black obsidian rune stones. So there's something about like a connection between those two places. Maybe both places call to you. I know they call to me, pile too. We have sublimation. Beautiful, beautiful. And I'll go into length about that in a moment. Befriend the word polarize. Yeah, it's like, don't be surprised if, well, one, your very essence, your very being polarizes people. Like I said, you attract lovers as well as haters. And sometimes those haters really do love you because the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. So the haters you actually have love you in some weird, twisted way. I know I get that because on my channel, I'll get the people who comment like the most and the most passionately on my channel are actually people who have nothing but negative stuff to say about me. And when I look at them, it's just like, oh, you're triggered. Thank you. I kind of feel privileged that I triggered you. So hopefully you get to heal some of that stuff that I've been poking within you for whatever reason. And sometimes it's not even about the subject matter that I'm talking about. Sometimes it's really, I don't know, envy or something, or boredom or something. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to talk about them. But I feel like you polarize a lot of people. There's also something here about contradictions existing. Like I said, I'm talking about volcanic activity, but I have both the island of Hawaii and the island of Iceland on my mind, because to me, I know there's other places in the world that have volcanoes. Personally, I'm Mexican, so the volcano Popocatépetl, that's a God, I hope I pronounced that right. Popocatépetl. It's hard for me to switch between Spanish and English sometimes, but that particular volcano is important to me, just because that's from my family's country. But for whatever reason, those two specific islands are coming through. And if any other volcano comes to your mind as I'm talking about this, by all means, list it down in the comments below. I kind of want to learn the mythologies behind this. Okay, and then the last two cards. We have vision, number 10. So some of you could become very, you could be seeing visions, or maybe you've had visions. Volcanoes come to me whenever I tap into grounding energy, whenever I'm going through my chakras or my body systems in a more spiritual way. Whenever I ground myself, the first thing I see is black sand beaches, which I know both Hawaii and Iceland have, but I know other places in the world also have them. Let me know of any other ones. I probably should have looked this up a little bit more before I went on. And then we have water element, emotion, intuition, and imum coeli. So for a lot of you, I feel like you're trying to tap into your intuition because I feel like you're dealing with, well, one, difficult people, or a polarity that maybe you're not used to, or that you're tired of having to get used to. I'm being called there because these two cards look very similar. And I feel like with your intuition, with a meditative practice at the very least, you kind of learn to unravel the particular journey that is ahead of you. Like I said, you have a very natural understanding of yourself, or you have been doing this for some time to the point where you understand who you are, what you are. What you really want to get to know is the journey ahead of you. And there was a similar message in the first pile, but here it's more like you're wondering what the people in your life actually have anything to do with your journey. It's like some of you could be asking yourself if it was necessary to meet certain people, even including the probably the people who gave you the most headaches, heartaches, or just stupid little side quests is what I'm hearing. Let me go ahead and read for Vegvisir though. So for my pile 2, Vegvisir. This is a compass. Your current scenario comes down to direction. In Icelandic magic, the Vegvisir is a stave or a potenized symbol. It means that which shows the way. Don't try to navigate by a series of shoulds or in reaction to trolls. Funny. Maybe you feel like some of the people you've met are trolls pile too. Stop, collect your thoughts, and grok the terrain. Once you have a clear feel for the environment you're operating in, you regain your bearings, or a blatant directional symbol manifests. I love that. I feel like, yeah, we're talking about which direction you're going, but also about not paying attention to the trolls. And I feel like it's beautiful that we have both the labyrinth and this compass here. It's kind of like you're going to be shown a compass on which way to go, which direction to head. Like I said, once you know yourself, the path shows itself. And maybe some of you are getting closer to understanding yourself. And even with polarized, sometimes you feel that if you go in the opposite direction, how do I say this? Because let's just use this example, because I live somewhere where like the roads do not make any sense. I don't live somewhere where the roads are a grid. You know how in most major cities or major towns, roads are literally a grid. You know, they're very simple. You know, if you reach this point, you'll get to this point. Where I live, roads are like a freaking spider web on caffeine or something. They do not make sense. So sometimes if I go the opposite direction, I end up getting somewhere faster than if I were to go in the direct direction of that place. I know that sounds weird, but that's literally where I live. That's how the roads are. And I've lived in both kinds of places. So I hope this makes sense. I live in the country, and here the roads are based off of like roads from almost hundreds of years ago, back when they had horse-drawn carriages, and they never bothered to like reroute the roads. They just paved whatever was already there, you know, as opposed to cities which are planned out. So for a lot of you, I feel like you're dealing with a life path that wasn't really planned out, more like one that was meant to be a riddle, one that was meant to be more like a labyrinth, where sometimes you come to a dead end, but you were meant to learn something on that dead end, so you have to turn back around, go through something again, and then get somewhere else. And I know that may sound frustrating, but I feel like, and maybe you're going to get annoyed by me saying this, it does build character. It also builds this solidifying knowing and understanding of yourself. Like I said, some of you wish it hadn't been that way, because with the bow here, I also feel like you're a straight shooter. Like you would rather just get there. This message came through very strongly in the first pile. So if you hear from the first pile, this is just confirmation. I'm also going to read for sublimation though. This must be my pile of people who love to do research or who love to learn about things, because I know I do. So from the book, we have elevation, rising, and flight. Sublimatio is the great alchemical operation of air. It occurs when there is enough heat to change a solid substance into a gas, causing it to rise up, and away. Therefore, when sublimation is present, there is an aspect of celebrated elevation, of ascending above and gaining a greater perspective. Birds in flight, mountain peaks, ladders, and balloons are all sublimatio images. As is, I may add, lava that spouts out of a volcano. So I feel like a lot of you, if we were to see yourself, your beautiful little self, as a volcano, it's kind of like you're about to erupt in some sort of either a realization. And the way you can erupt could be any which way. You could even be in a fit of fury, in a fit of rage, in a fit of just understanding radically who you are, and suddenly you're not going to put up with anything anymore. And I feel like this is going to progress you forward towards something. Like you're literally going to be projected into something once you understand your passion and yourself. I feel like some of you could even go through a particular frustration, and maybe even a vision that you see, to be the person you are meant to be. And I honestly love this. It's kind of like the growth that you are expecting will happen whether you like it or not, because this is just the person you are meant to be. It's like it's inevitable that you are meant to be in whatever it is that you are pursuing here. With the bow, I do feel like you have goals and dreams, and you're going to achieve them. And I feel like your emotions and intuition are kind of going to help you push yourself forward. I forgot to get one more card, and let me go ahead and get that deck. This is from my crystals deck. I think it's called Crystal Insights. It's kind of weird that I forgot this one, so sorry about that. So let's go ahead and live shuffle your crystal card. I am not looking at these. I know the images are here, but I'm looking upwards, and okay, that one wanted to fall. We have aquamarine. So we have safe travels, exploration, and renewal. Oh, I love this. I mean, some of you could literally be traveling, but with exploration and renewal, I feel like you're going to explore certain parts and understandings of yourself that are going to allow for you to become something new. Maybe some of you have very strong Pluto or Scorpio aspects where you understand that renewal is inevitable and you kind of go along with it now as opposed to trying to prevent it. Or when people need to renew themselves, sometimes there's like a stubbornness there or a reluctance to do so. I feel like you are okay with this though. Crystal fact, aquamarine's name comes from the Latin words for ocean water, a reference to its pale blue-green hue. Some of you could be called to the ocean, or you could be moving somewhere that has a little bit more ocean to you, because there's a lot of aqua here as well. Maybe that's one of your colors, because I've noticed that certain people kind of have natural signature colors, because we also have, I mean, we have this like royal blue here, and then we have these two cards, which are like this orangey reddish copper color, and then we have aqua, maybe all three. And I'm not including these because these come from their own decks that have a particular color scheme. But still, there's this feeling here that a lot of you, you're understanding what your signature is, you're going to follow it, and it's going to just feel like a natural progression of the person you are meant to be without really trying. Some of you are also going to pay homage to your ancestral roots is what I'm hearing. That's not going to be everybody, but I'm seeing specifically, I mean, maybe Polynesia, Hawaii and Polynesia, because we are talking about the goddess Pele here. But I'm also, this card makes me think of like certain, the more desert-like places of Africa. So where are the desert-like, is it the Serengeti? Which I want to say is partially in South Africa. I only know this because I used to watch Meerkat Manor. Where else? Egypt. I mean, this particular deck is kind of inspired by ancient Egypt, which is also in Africa. Interesting. So some of you, you're paying homage to your roots. Oh, also Iceland. Maybe some of you have Nordic ancestry or a combination of both. I know people who have a combination of both. But if this sounds like you, let's go ahead and get into your tarot, because I really do love your energy. It's always fun working with people who really do know themselves and only come here for confirmation. Not saying that if you don't know yourself, this isn't you. I feel like you will eventually get there. Let's start with the tarot. And like I said, I'm going to do some runes as well. And for this reading, I'm using the Star Child Tarot. So Pele, Goddess Pele, what messages does my Pile 2 need to know and understand right now? I'm being told to show you the path. So let's start with the first card, which will answer that the question of what you need to know. Yeah, Six of Swords. Some of you feel that going back somewhere is either failure or retreating, or you kind of have some sort of shame about going back to somewhere where you used to be. This could be like a homecoming for some of you. This could also be just revisiting a certain place. Some of you feel that you are repeating a cycle, when the truth is a cycle can never be truly repeated, because you will have already gone through it at least once, and therefore you become a little bit smarter about it. So when the second time around comes, it's like, don't feel like a fool. You've been here before. All right, let's be shown the pathway then. So some of you are going back somewhere. We have the Six of Pentacles. This is meant to show you exactly where things have been unfair, where things have been imbalanced, whether it was on your part or somebody else's part. I especially see this in people in romantic relationships who take somebody back and things need to be different. It's like there's no way somebody would take somebody back unless things changed. That's what I'm hearing. At least that could also be advice for some of you who are taking a particular person back, whether it's a friend or romantic partner. We also have the Magician reversed. This is meant to teach you how to work with your elements as well. Some of you feel a little bit disempowered, and the disempowerment is just an illusion here. Like, you have what it takes to create your reality, to create what needs to be said. You also are going to find the words that you need in order to make things right. We also have the Queen of Pentacles. You have the capacity to bring things in order. You have a natural capacity to do this. And it's a lot more straightforward than you believe. Because some people think that whenever, I don't know, some people view things a little bit more complicated than they have to be. So when you return to this place, whether it's literal or metaphorical, or whether it's a cycle you are repeating, it's kind of like, it takes very, very practical actions and practical steps to make things differently. It's kind of like, you know how when you first, I'm using the example of makeup because I'm not really great at doing my own makeup. Some of you might be able to tell from my videos where you see my face, but I always overestimate, yeah, how makeup can be. And it's like, I always think it's going to be something that's really difficult, that you need a little bit of artistic ability, that you need this and that. But then once I do it, it's like, oh, all I needed to do was draw a little line here and boom, eyeliner. And meanwhile, I think it's so complicated, but it's really not. For whatever is going on here, pile 2, you think this is more complicated than it actually is. I feel like all you really have to do is show up and say a few simple words, and that's all that it's going to take in order for things to work out here. Again, it's kind of like if we're talking about roads. A lot of you feel that you have to go on a long, windy road to go somewhere, when really it just takes a short, straight shot somewhere, and boom, you're there. I know, again, where I live, roads look really long and daunting and curvy, but really it's just you head 5 minutes in one direction and you're there. Even though on a map it looks a lot more convoluted than it is. Let's get another card. Anything else you need to know? And then we'll clarify these. We have oppression. Okay, for some of you, we are dealing with bad habits or negative influences, whichever resonates more. Maybe both, because sometimes bad habits are due to the fact that we have bad influences around us. For some of you, like I said, if we're talking about people, I feel like sometimes the people around you are probably worse for you than you realize, even if you don't have much to do with them, because they're just sending you, bad energy, or maybe even their own influence tends to drain you. I know this because over the holidays, I had to go back somewhere where I didn't expect to, well, I did expect to be, but not for the amount of time and not for the things that I was doing. And I didn't realize just how much that particular area, that particular job was draining me. And when I would get home, I would literally be more, like 10 times more exhausted than usual. And yes, it had to do with the nature of that job, but also because of what went into having to deal with that, how do I say this? Because I don't necessarily want to blame the people that I was working with. I don't think it's that. I think it was just the stress of the job and everybody also being stressed by that job, and how, like, if you combine all that stress, it becomes a little bit like a thunderstorm, as opposed to if we were all taking it easy, it wouldn't be as bad because we would all be in better spirits. So that's what I'm thinking of. For some of you, this is like something that you had to go back to. It could even be this place. It's like if you go back home and you realize, oh yeah, and I could definitely see this. Like, when you go to grandma's house and you gain like 10 pounds because she has food all over the place. And I'm not saying that's a bad habit. I think it's good to be nourished and fed by grandma, but sometimes it's not great if you have a particular health ailment, if you need to stay healthy. And of course, you can't say no to grandma's food because it's amazing and delicious, and she doesn't, she wants you to eat well. But if you have a particular diet that you're supposed to watch what you're eating, it's kind of hard to say no to that. So some of you could be dealing with something that is negative, but not in a malicious way. It's just not the right environment for you. I remember I used to know somebody that as soon as he moved out of he lived with his aunt, but as soon as he moved out of his aunt's house, he lost a ton of weight because all the food at his aunt's house would just be very heavy and not very healthy. And not only that, but she always served like huge portions, so he got used to eating a lot of food. And as soon as he moved out, he lost a lot of weight. It had nothing to do with exercise or what he was doing. It was literally just because he was living in that house. Not saying that that wasn't a positive or negative thing, by the way. He didn't need to lose weight, nor was the weight that he had bad. It's just, you'd be surprised how certain environments can affect you in ways you don't recognize. And I feel like some of you are dealing with that. Okay, let's get clarification on all these cards. Okay, we have the 5 of Wands. Yeah, this is inner turmoil. Wherever it is that you're going back to, there's an animosity there that I feel like, again, whether it's intended or not intended, it still affects you. Because for some of you, you're not actively taking in that animosity. With the 6 of Pentacles reverse and the Page of Pentacles, I feel like you actually do your own fair share or whatever it is that you need to do, you do your part. I think it's everybody else who either they don't do their own part or they take advantage of you. So that wouldn't surprise me. The part of the reason you're feeling so drained is because you do more for certain people than they may do for you. The Magician, we have the Empress. Okay, I love this. I love the Magician and the Empress here. This is telling me that within your divine feminine Empress energy, you're able to call to you that which you need. So don't be afraid of using your own natural magnetism to bring certain things to you. Like I said, you already have that. And maybe some of you don't like doing this. I know, you know how some people use their good looks, charms, and flirtatious manners to get things? I always used to see that as a very negative thing until I realized, especially as I got older, that it's not a bad thing to just charm people a little in order to get things going your way if you do it in a non-malicious way. And maybe some of you don't resonate with that. That's fine. I know I still kind of don't, but there have been, it's pretty privilege essentially. And sometimes pretty privilege can work to your advantage. Again, not saying to overdo it or to have any ill intentions with this, but sometimes it can help. If not that, then definitely being in your receptive energy can help you out a lot here. Let's clarify this Queen of Pentacles energy. We have the Eight of Cups. Some of you, you're being asked to reevaluate your emotions regarding something. How is something making you feel? Because I feel like a lot of you do numb yourselves in certain environments and situations, especially if this environment or situation is one where it's very easy to distract yourself by partaking in other habits, situations, etc. For example, going back to that particular example of the friend I knew who, you know, when he was at his family's house, he would just eat and eat. That was a habit that he had developed there, to just be eating a lot, because I would see the habits. And again, it's kind of like numbing the need to think, numbing the need to do anything by either eating or social. For some of you, it could be social drinking. You could numb yourself out through that, or any other substance that kind of prevents you from really understanding, well, one, your body, because the Queen of Pentacles would be the first queen to understand what her body needs. After all, it's that earth human-like energy. I think next to the Queen of Wands, which would be that person who needs to exercise, the Queen of Pentacles is like, how do I nourish the body? So definitely listening to your body, and where you are doing certain habits, especially physically, out of an emotional need to escape or to ignore certain feelings. And then let's clarify the Suppression card, which, by the way, that's the devil in this particular deck. We have the Starseed. I'm hearing forgiveness, and I don't always see the starseed here being the Fool as forgiveness, but it's definitely like a blank slate. It's a tabula rasa here. So I feel like a lot of you need to just start anew, need to start fresh, and let certain bygones be bygones. Even if forgiveness isn't always necessarily the first thing that you can do, I feel like to just let certain situations go, even if for the moment, and allowing new things to come through will help you out a lot, because it's just not, it's, how do I say this? It's like not allowing the baggage that you have to follow you. It's like, leave that baggage elsewhere and we'll deal with it when we have the moment to deal with it. But don't exactly ignore it either, because otherwise it will end up being this kind of repressed energy or repressed emotions that will then come back to haunt you. Especially if you came from pile 1. I feel like pile 1 kind of is, it's similar to this one, but here we have a little bit more solution, and this would be like a more self-actualized version of pile 1. So if you felt that pile 1 was a little rough, I feel like this one is a little bit more palatable, but this would be what you would be if you did a little bit more internal healing, internal work as well. Back of the deck, we have the Eight of Pentacles. A lot of you, whatever it is that you've been working hard towards, whatever dreams that you have that are meant to come towards you, they're coming, because like I said, you work really hard regardless. The Wheel of Fortune. There's also something about good luck coming to you. So something could just happen out of fate. Like fate is at play here. So don't be afraid, and don't feel that you lack for anything. You are just where you need to be. So let's go ahead and get your obsidian runes. Obsidian being a black glass that comes from it's volcanic glass essentially. It is volcanic glass. So some of you are in your most creative energy right now. And I feel like it's amping up because you're kind of meant to pave a way for certain projects that are going to get you out of this stagnant energy. And I feel like it's something that you're going to continue doing going forward into the future. And you're going to partner up with a lot of people here. But this particular creative endeavor that you're doing is also a bit of a gift, not just to yourself, but also to the world. This is going to be something that you share with a lot of people. So a lot of you, oh yeah, and money's coming in for sure with Fehu here. For a lot of you, I think you begin this kind of as a personal project because you really want to get to know yourself, or you want to get to know deeper aspects of yourself. But then once you start polishing it up for like the masses, for the public eye, I feel like you start seeing that it brings in a viewership that really resonates with whatever it is that you're making. And then somehow money also comes along with this because people are going to want to see more of it, or they're going to want to partake in this. A good example I can tell you is this particular tarot channel. When I first started it, I was doing it because I needed a lot of guidance going forward. And I've noticed, oddly enough, that whenever I recorded myself, it was easier for me to not just remember the things I was channeling, but also to give better advice, because sometimes I look back at the recordings I do because I'm channeling and I don't even know who that girl is, you know, because I'm like, I don't talk like this in everyday life, you know, I'm literally in a different state of mind. I'm a little bit more tapped into my intuition, into higher guidance, and right now I'm trying to tap into the Goddess Pele and anything that her wisdom brings through here. And she's definitely talking about that fertility, which can also be creativity. It's definitely creativity here because you're meant to create something that you're meant to share with the world. And that is going to bring in a sort of abundance. At the very least, it's going to bring in people who are going to help you with your particular projects. Because I see this a lot. People who have, you know, either the knowledge, the know-how, the funds, the connections to get certain people with really great talent into other places. So I feel like whatever it is that you're creating, keep going, pile 2, because it will draw in the right people and it will get you to where you need to be. And I feel like you're going to find a sense of fulfillment. The biggest thing is, though, right now, and you need to understand this, you're going to be in such a state of understanding and knowing yourself when this happens. So keep going. You're doing well. You're doing well. That was very deep. Okay, so let's move on to your closing advice for my pile 2, and I'm using the Let Go Oracle. And where's this is the Super Attractor deck as well. I think I'm going to start with this one. What advice does my pile 2 need to hear right now? We have, instead of worrying about the future, I know all is well when I'm aligned in the moment. Yeah, there's something about being aligned with the current moment that will help you out a lot, pile 2. We also have, when I truly surrender my desire to the universe, a mighty force of faith can set in. And the way I'm being told to take this is that a lot of you are just, there's people who are meant to help you. Some of these people could even be your very rivals, or the people who see you as competition, believe it or not. Either because they may, I know this is weird, but I've seen this before, both in a reading and in real life. Some people, they like it when people are on their level. They'll take them up as rivals, but they're also like, you know what? You're good at what you do, and so am I. I'm going to give you a heads up and give you an upper hand so that I can defeat you because, well, not defeat, not literally defeat, but, you know, they want... Somebody here who is a rival is going to give you a leg up. They're going to help you because they want to see you do better, so that then they can also do better. It's like they see you as a marker of where their success is or what they're supposed to do and be, because they also want to be better than that. It's like they want to see you at your best so they can beat your best, which I know sounds weird, but I actually kind of like that. That's a healthy rivalry. It's a borderline friendship as well, because I don't feel an animosity from one of these rivals that you may have. Let me know if you have multiple rivals, because I don't see the world as rivals. Maybe some of you do, or like I said, your people do. Your own rivals do. This could also just be your competitors. And I guess this makes more sense in like a sports kind of environment. I believe I'm worthy of feeling good. Just make sure you're feeling good. Above all else, pile 2, make sure you're feeling good about everything that you do and whatever it is that you are doing. This is a law of attraction. When you feel good, you attract good. Which isn't always the case, by the way. I don't believe in the law of attraction in such a simplistic way, but I feel like some of you needed to hear that right now. Okay, we have from the Let Go Oracle. Oh, well. If it'll cooperate. Okay, there's that one. And this one wanted to pop out. I'm hearing for some of you, like, you're going to change up your skincare because this is making me think of her washing her face. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but maybe someone needed to hear it. Let go of fear through meditation. Purify yourself so you are a magnet to your true heart's desires. Yeah, I feel like I said, some of you need to do a little bit more meditating. We also have this one. And look, there's a little volcano in the back. That's so cute. Pay close attention to your patterns and let go of those that are merely reactions to life. Like I said, if you feel like you are currently going through a cycle that you are repeating, you can step out of that cycle at any time. Definitely wait for the proper time though. Just like, it's like getting off a merry-go-round. You have to wait for like the right patch of land to jump off at, but still, you are more than capable of breaking a cycle here. But this is where I leave it, pile 2. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care. Hello there, pile 3. If you chose the heart shungite, then we have your reading here for you about messages from your goddess Pele. So, and she's the goddess of volcanoes and passion, amongst other things. So we are talking about passion, and I think quite literally some of you are talking about the passionate love here. Maybe, sort of, because I don't know, I'm just getting that feeling. But let's go ahead and look at the card you chose. This has a whole excerpt. So, Pele is the fiery Hawaiian volcano goddess, the daughter of the earth goddess Haimea. Pele came to Hawaii on a boat, specifically a canoe. Killed in a fight with her sister, the ocean, she took refuge in the glowing cauldron of Mount Kilauea, where she receives the souls of the dead and regenerates them with fire. In a tempestuous relationship with Kamapua, the ferocious pig god, she is portrayed as a jealous goddess. She rages, manifesting in volcanic eruptions. Revered by Hawaiians even today, she carries the force of the volcano, with its molten lava flow, which even in destruction creates new land. She stands for the molten, fierce aspect of life that is unable to do anything halfway. She reminds us that even in the midst of fiery eruption, there is creation and new life. Beautiful, beautiful. That really does resemble her in a lot of her aspects. But for a lot of you, let's go ahead and get your cards. Before I even tap into what I'm about to talk about, let's get your cards. So I pre-shuffled them, and I don't usually pre-select them anymore. I prefer to live shuffle them. But I was just called to do so in this particular instance. So we have restoration, gentleness, recharge, and enjoyment. Some of you are going through a period of taking a break. And what exactly you're taking a break from could be anything. But I feel like if not already doing so, I feel like the universe is asking you to take a moment's rest right here. Be a dormant volcano, if you will. We also have raw intention, because look, you're definitely a person who goes hard or goes home. And I feel like when you have that kind of energy, it could be easy to become restless, or it could be easy to become, what's the word? I guess anxious is a proper word for that. Like when you have so much energy, you don't know what to do with it, which is interesting because literally this happened to me last night. I had a long day. I went to work. I went to go hang out with people, and then I came home and I had so much energy that instead of, taking a shower and going to bed, I literally worked out for like, almost an hour. I was just moving around, doing stuff, exercising. I had so much energy, even though it was the middle of the night. I was like, I need to release this energy. So some of you could be this way, where you always have a lot of energy that it's kind of hard to take a rest because you don't know how to rest. I'm not saying that there's a problem with that, but with restoration, I feel like there's going to be a moment in time where you're going to have to rest. We also have square and compass. This whole notion of like direction and maps and where to go has been a recurrent theme in this entire reading, to the point where I wonder if Pele is kind of a goddess of knowing where to go. After all, she showed up on Hawaii to be a goddess there. She overthrew the original volcano god. I forget who he was. I forget his name, but she overthrew him, and she herself became the embodiment of the island herself in a way, because she does create land. So there's something about finding your proper direction here. We also have serendipity, shooting star. Oh, this is beautiful. You're heading exactly where you need to go, pile 3. That's what I'm hearing. We have resin. We have ash. Interesting, because volcanoes do create ash, volcanic ash. That always reminds me of, what game was it? It was Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, where there's that one little town where they have the the volcanic activity, and there's like a hot springs, and like everything is covered in ash, and you can make stuff with that. I don't know, I love that. So something about the volcanic ash is important here. I will read from the book for this. We have the moorland, which is interesting because there's this little mountain here which almost looks like a volcano. So the symbology is all over the place. Maybe you literally love volcanoes and this is why you chose this particular reading, pile 3. Hopefully I do you some justice. We have generous. There's something peaceful coming up for you. There's something very peaceful here. Maybe you're searching for peace. And if so, it's coming to you. And then you got 2 of the crystal cards, starting with Jasper, which is interesting because I think I mentioned Jasper in the opening, but I almost chose my Jasper heart instead of the shungite heart. In fact, here she is. So let me just leave her out here, which is, I mean, look at them. Oh, it's so cute, 2 hearts. But this card says stability, wholeness, and perseverance. Fun fact, Jasper's warm reddish brown color comes from the iron present in this stone. Quite literally, some of you could be iron deficient, or you may need iron. And then we have howlite. Perspective, compassion, and patience. Crystal fact, howlite is found in sedimentary rock, a type of stone that forms from slowly depositing particles, often left behind by water. Some of you, like I said, there's gentler times ahead for you. And I feel like you've already accomplished certain things in life that you're very proud of. This almost feels like, this isn't going to be everybody clearly, but it kind of feels like retirement energy. Maybe some of you are wondering what to do. Like you've already had your goals fulfilled. You've already done something, or you will be in this energy at some point in your life, pile 3, just giving you confirmation that you will accomplish all you ever set out to do. And even if you didn't, you'll make peace with it, or something better will come along that you're going to be like, well, it's okay that I didn't accomplish that goal because I got to do this instead, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. Because the sense I'm getting from this particular pile is so peaceful. So peaceful. Let me go ahead and read from the book for Ash, or Sinis here. You know, it's funny. Sinis is it's Latin word for ash. In Spanish, we call her Cenicienta, Cinderella. And cinders, of course, being ash. So I feel like a lot of you are going to have your fairy tale ending. But that fairy tale ending may not be exactly what you thought it would be. So let's go ahead and read from the book. We have memory, ancestors, the past. Ash represents what has come before it. The fire is over now, and its flames took with it all recognizable form of what has burned. Only memories and the soft gray ashen substance remain. When this card appears, look back and sift through what has occurred. You are in the realm of ancestors, past relationships, and those who have passed to another realm. Be gentle with the process, as it is delicate and sacred. The Ash card asks us to tend to the true nature of endings, grief, and letting go. You may be asked to be present with others experiencing loss. When in doubt, be like the ash. It is silken light and easily carried by the wind. Soften into the memories and into the tears. Eventually, forgiveness follows and the heart travels light. This is beautiful. Maybe some of you are, I don't feel a mourning energy. I just feel a peaceful energy. So something has come to an end and you're okay with that. Something, either it didn't pan out how you wanted it to, and maybe you're even grateful for that. This is kind of like the calm after, you know how when you break up with somebody, you're upset and then you're angry and you go through the stages of grief with that entire ordeal. And then you finally find peace. I feel like some of you are in this energy, whether it's with relationships or any other type of situation here. It could even be a dream that you thought would happen and now it's not going to. It could even be having left something behind and you were struggling with it and suddenly you find yourself at peace with it. If you're not currently there, I feel like you will eventually get there. By the way, pile 3, because I know at the beginning of the last year, I was going through I was going through several things, and a result of that thing that I was going through, I developed an obsession with something which I knew was unhealthy. But I remember I was listening to a tarot reading of all things, and somebody there, it was funny how she was able to tap right into it. She said, if you have an obsession right now, you will get over it by the end of this year. And I did, and I'm grateful that I did, because here I am literally a year later, and I'm no longer being swayed by that thing that I was fixated on. I can't share, of course, because that's my personal business, but I'm happy to report that I'm no longer swayed by that. I'm not obsessed with it anymore. And when I do indulge in it, it's more healthy. So as opposed to, you know, something that I was overdoing or using to escape. Not saying that things that you use to escape are a bad thing, but, you know, to do things in moderation is always good, especially because we have the number 15 here, and 15 resonates with the devil card in tarot, which, you know, is a card of bad habits and bad influences. I want to read from the book for square and compass, but like I said, those are the tools that we use to map out a journey here, or to map out a path on a map. So the blend of architectural structure, aesthetic, and raw magic. If you think the square and compass symbol is a Freemasonry thing, rethink. It's the symbol of Nuwa and Fuxi, the legendary lovers and founders of ancient China. It's also connected with Sechat, the ancient Kemetic goddess of measurement. You're building something on a grander scale than anything previously attempted, and this is the time to assess, measure, and calibrate. Precision is important. So maybe some of you could have ties to China, ancient China, or modern day China. But there is something here about your raw intentions becoming much more, you're becoming at peace with your ideas, you're becoming at peace with your goals, and you're even, it's like navigating calm waters. Or even if the waters are not calm, you're still navigating them so expertly because you've been here before. Whether it's in this life or in a past life, you're about to embark on something that it's not going to be difficult. It's going to be very easy. In fact, if you watched all of 3 piles in this reading, which I'm not suggesting that you do if you don't have the time or if you don't want to, but I've noticed a progression. The first pile was very difficult. I mean, it wasn't, not terribly so, but it was difficult for me to channel. I had a hard time like acknowledging certain things in it because there was a very avoidant nature to that. The second one got better. There was like an understanding of the self. And then in this pile, and this third one, there's such a sense of peace with the generosity here. It's like being generous with yourself. There's this feeling that things are well. It's kind of like a progression here. So if you watched all 3, well, 1, thank you for giving me the time and attention. And 2, I feel like you're going on the right path of understanding, of like going from beginner who is anxious and doesn't know what to do to somebody who is self-actualized and exactly knows what to do. Because they conspire with the universe, with their own raw intention, with their own belief in themselves and everything else around them to map out a life that is truly meant for them. With resin, it's kind of like there's something about solidifying something here and holding it in place. And with restoration, it's kind of contradictory. I feel like when you rest is when things solidify. When you rest, it's when you allow things to actually work out for you. Much like the analogy of like when the way you build muscle is not by you. I mean, yes, you go to the gym and then you start lifting weights and you do all of that. But the muscle is built when you rest because that's just the conditioning that you need in order for it to set. So same thing, I guess, like when you work with hair, you know, the way your hair dyes, you don't go out of your way and rub the dye in, or at least, I mean, you do at first, but you don't keep doing that the whole process. You let it sit for a few hours and then boom, you have beautiful colored hair. So there's something here about trusting the process and allowing it to unfold in the way that it needs to. And what you have to do is basically nothing or very little. All you have to do is believe in it. All you have to do is have patience for it. And it will come through. In fact, here we have patience. So a lot of you, you're understanding the whole process of patience and allowing things to marinate essentially, and allowing that time to do things for you. Time does the work for you. You don't do it. Time does. And it's very beautiful. I want to read from the book for the moorland because there's a lot of cute animals here, but I haven't been given this card enough attention. So from the book, Moment of Freedom. It's not the situation that disappoints you, but the expectation you have of it. Yeah, like sometimes in the process of getting to somewhere, it feels like because you did so much that the outcome or the fruits of your labor don't feel like they're enough. So do less and you'll appreciate the fruits of your labor here, pile 3. The skies open up in the cold moorlands as the heavens say. Embrace what is, not what you think it should be. Now is the time to break free from the expectations that people have of you and the ones you have for yourself. Ask yourself, have you been living a life of people pleasing? Or are you making choices according to the desires of your spirit? Perhaps what is confusing your heart is not knowing what you want with certainty because you've spent too much time doing what you are told. So maybe this is a time where you break up from the person you were told to be and step into the person that you are by making sure that what you choose and stand for is rooted in your own desire. Let's see. Keep your mind and heart always open to embrace the outcome, and keep your spirit strong against the resistance of the ego while you step into the next version of yourself. Yeah, there's something about acceptance here that is important here as well. Because it's like you allow things to happen. You set the intention and just allow things to happen. This is basically learning to manifest at its most effectively by making your wish on the shooting star, allowing things to unfold, and understanding that whatever happens is meant to happen in the way. There's something here about acceptance that is so important, pile 3. And it's beautiful energy. This is the kind of energy that like wise older people tend to have, or that like really patient older people tend to have. And I feel like regardless of your age here, you're about to step into this and life is going to get so much more easy and so much more beautiful here. But let's go ahead and move on to the tarot, because I'm really excited for what this pile has to say. So we're going to do the tarot. I'm going to freeform it and just ask first and foremost what the Goddess Pele, what messages she has for you. I mean, some of you could literally live on the island of Hawaii. Maybe this is why you're here, because I feel this energy feels like what I envision Hawaii feeling like if I was ever to visit. I have not yet visited, but at one point in my life I have to, right? It's been calling me my whole life. Since I've watched Lilo and Stitch, more specifically, back in theaters, because I was 8 or 9 when that movie came out. But anyway, pile 3. What messages do we have for my beautiful pile 3? The Star. I think some of you, part of the reason you're not doing anything is because you partially have given up hope that something would happen, ironically enough. But part of the reason you were meant to give up hope, because it is part of the plan, was so that you could allow things to unfold. I think the only thing you have to do is switch on that part of you that doesn't believe it'll happen and just allow things to happen. There's something about doing absolutely nothing, which makes sense because, like I said, maybe some of you have an overabundance of energy. Or was it this pile or the previous pile I told that? I don't remember. But maybe some of you do. We have the 3 of Wands. You've already set your intentions. You've already planned things out. Some of you could literally be planners. Like maybe you have a journal somewhere where you plan things out, or you manifest things, or you script write, something along those lines. Just allow things to come to you. We also have the 10 of Wands, and let go of the burdens. That's a great card to have reversed because this is you letting go of all the wands on the back. In the Rider-Waite, it's the card where the guy has like all those, all the sticks on his back, and it's clearly weighing him down. You're releasing expectations along with burdens and along with anything else that is weighing you down. And maybe for a lot of people, they think that you've given up, but the truth is you've just let go. There's a difference between giving up and letting go. We have the Hierophant. Yeah, because you've already... This is the karmic lesson, and I think you finally are learning it, or you've already learned it. It's like, why hold on? In fact, her palm here is open, and she's got like this little glowing orb here. It's like, I just let go. I don't hold on to things. I let it go. And if it happens to land in my hand, then it happens to land in my hand, you know? Let's get one last card. The Knight of Pentacles. Slow but steady progress. Like I said, maybe for some people it just seems like you've given up, but the truth is that you're working at your own pace. You're working slowly and you're having patience here. You're allowing things to unfold. And I mean, there's a lot of earth energy here. Some of you could be Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. More so Capricorn and Taurus, because I feel like Virgo has a little bit more energy than either of those two signs. But there's definitely a feeling here that you're allowing time to work for you. And I've known people like this who are so patient. I mean, I know people who are such big avid supporters of the long game, and it's infuriating because I'll know people for years and they will tell me, it's like, yeah, I planned this years ago. I expected this to happen in just this very way. And it's annoying because I don't have that kind of patience. I'm a Taurus myself, but I do not have that Taurian patience that everybody talks about. Blame my Mars on my ascendant or my Venus in Aries. So there's something about patience here. Also, I love your energy, pile 3. It is so relaxing. Let's go ahead and clarify the star. You have the King of Wands. Yeah, letting go of control as well. I described this in another reading, but sometimes when when the King of Wands is reversed, this is him letting go of control and understanding that he needs to let things work out. This is him letting go of the reins and letting other things have the spotlight and other things just working out for him. So I absolutely love that idea. So you have let go of control. We have the 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, and still things are working out in your favor. This is like planting a seed and allowing it to grow, especially if it's like not a high maintenance, a lower maintenance plant where all you have to do is just plant it, and with the sun, the wind, and the natural rainwater, it just grows on its own. All you have to do is check up on it every now and then and protect it, but that's about it. To clarify the 10 of Wands, we have the Chariot. Yeah, things are moving and progressing in divine order here. Also, the number 7 has come through several times already. We have the 7 of Crystals. We also have the Chariot, which is the number 7. Even your card, the Moorland, was number 7. I wasn't really pointing out numbers in any other piles, so I felt the need to do so here in case that is an important number for you, pile 3. We have the Moon. And while all of this is going on, while you are allowing your manifestations to come through, you are diving deeply into your emotional landscape to see what is going on within you. Oh, I love this. Okay, let me get one more card. The 2 of Cups. And this is going to bring about some really interesting partnerships. For some of you, I was getting this from the beginning. Maybe you were wondering if there is a partner for you or something about your partner. And again, just let things happen and your partner will show up, essentially. This is like the person who has given up on dating and instead is focusing on themselves and their career and their abundance, and boom, the partner shows up at the right time. Take that only if it resonates. I know not everybody's here for love and romance, but while you're allowing things to unfold, you are taking a deep dive into your own subconscious. You're taking a deep dive into why you feel certain ways about certain things, and just reevaluating your emotions and wondering why you are the person you are. There's a lot of self-reflective energy here. Again, if you're coming from pile 2, that energy kind of carried over into this, but in a more, it's like a more processed, mature way. Like this is the evolution of that very particular energy here. And I absolutely adore it. Back of the deck. Queen of Cups. Yeah. And I was getting this because I feel like a lot of you are very emotionally mature, but also emotionally self-aware, to the point where nobody can tell you what to do and nobody can tell you who you are. And you know and understand this. And I feel like in doing this, you will draw the right people to you, whether it's romantic or otherwise, definitely friendship-wise, and definitely the people who are meant to help you out on your journey or your career or your life goals, whatever they may be. You're going to draw the right people. And you're going to see exactly what it is that what you've been lacking. Not that I feel that you are lacking anything, but a lot of you understand that there's a need to understand yourself. So it's like the world makes space for you to understand yourself, and while you are doing that, things grow for you, things come to you. And I've said this, well, I don't know if I've said this before in my readings or on this channel. Sometimes the most amount of growth that I see is when I'm doing the shadow work, or when I'm taking time to like focus on myself, whether it's through doing intense yoga sessions or intensive meditation sessions. Sometimes I just go for a walk and things happen. It's like when I let go completely and fully of everything else around me, that things happen for me. I feel like the universe is asking you to do this, pile 3. Focus on you and things happen for you. Focus on your journey, focus on your well-being, and things will happen. Let go of control and things show up for you, ironically enough. Let's go ahead and get your runes. I'm using my obsidian runes because obsidian is a volcanic glass, so protection. So, you know what's interesting? You've come out of a very difficult energy, and I feel like that's part of the reason why you have such a peaceful way of being. It's kind of like when you get out of the worst situations, you have nowhere to go but up. So there's an ease to your energy because you've already been through the worst of it. You've already healed. Somebody here wasn't very fair to you, or somebody here, you could have been protected from. This person could have been a partner or a friend or something, and you know and acknowledge this. You may even finally be out of a situation that you've been wanting to get out of, and like I said, you're either currently healing or you have already healed, and you feel very lucky and victorious because of this. It's like you just feel free, and you feel like you can finally work on yourself and strengthen your abilities, and all you have to do now is look forward to the future. It's like the universe has afforded you this energy of being able to, it's like the indulgence of being able to plan for your future. So some of you have an energy of gratitude that is so abundant, that is so positive, because you've outgrown or you've come out of something that was very negative. This would be like the person who has finally finalized their divorce, or somebody who's finally moved out of the situation with a former partner who wasn't great for them, or a former roommate, whatever the case may be. Like something is finally out of your life because you were so divinely protected for them that the universe made sure that you would get out of that situation in the least harmed way possible. And now you have nothing but beautiful things to look forward to. This is somebody who's very grateful of being out of a toxic connection, or even a toxic workplace in some cases. Again, this is why it feels like retirement energy for those people who have left behind the workforce that was very unhealthy for them, and now they get to embrace a life of doing whatever they want. Even if you are not in that particular circumstance, this is what it feels like. It's like you're finally free. There's a freedom here that you're finally learning to trust yourself. Maybe some of you really trusted your gut instinct in some certain case. And because of that, the universe is kind of showing you what it feels like when you follow your intuition as opposed to fighting it and going against the grain. This beautiful energy. And I feel like you understood. It's like you saw what you avoided. You saw exactly what you avoided. And you're very grateful for yourself for taking the right steps, or the right divine, the right divine intervention, accepting divine intervention, I guess. Yeah, this is like, you know when people follow their gut feelings and it turns out that they avoided something catastrophic? That's what it feels like. So there's a gratitude coming from you because of the situation. It's like when you decide not to take your ex back, and then like several months later you find out that they get in some sort of trouble, and you're just glad you don't have to deal with that. That's what I'm seeing for some of you. That was very specific, so maybe that literally happened. But yeah, I feel like you're going to have a very victorious and prosperous future because you're out of something. You're finally out of a situation. You finally have undone certain patterns or broken certain cycles, or otherwise you're just not caught up in the BS that you used to be caught up in. So beautiful energy. Let's go ahead and move on to your closing advice though, pile 3. For your closing advice, let's start with the let go cards. Okay, these two wanted to pop out. We have, oh, this is beautiful. She's got this orange dress. I don't think I've ever seen this card. Let all distractions float by. Concentrate on the things you really want. Yeah, it's like you're not allowing yourself to be distracted by petty scenes or silly things anymore. And then we have this one where she's looking up at the moon. Find a place of quiet solitude and listen to the goddess of the moon. Though you can listen to the goodness of the moon as well, pile 3. Is she calling for more love? Yeah, some of you could be inspired by the moon, or you could be asked to bring in more self-love, or any type of love, really. And by love, I think I mean gratitude, because gratitude can be seen as an expression of love. A love for life, if you will. And let's get your final cards for my pile 3. The more I attune my energy with appreciation, the more the universe will deliver. Yeah, just further hitting home that there is an appreciation, a gratitude here for the universe and other things. When I live and act from a place of spiritual alignment, I can trust that everything is working out for me, even if I don't know when or how it will happen. Yeah, you're just allowing things to happen and aligning with pure divine truth, pure divine energy, trusting in the universe, and just living in gratitude every day. Let's get one more card. Okay, you got 2 more cards. See? It's like you go for 1 and you get 2. It's just positive energy coming through and showing itself for you every day, pile 3. The universe is always conspiring to support me, guide me, and lead me compassionately toward the highest good. That's a keeper. And then, to begin the practice of allowing, I must get out of my way and let spirit give me direction. Yeah. Some of you, it's like you finally found out that you finally just have to get out of your own way. And maybe it was a lot more simple than you realized it would be. And once you found that out, it's like things just started happening for you. And oh, this is beautiful energy. I'm so happy for you, Pile 3. Congratulations. I feel like you deserve this. You've earned this. And I really hope this kind of energy goes out to everybody in the world. I feel like we all need a little bit more ease in our lives. But this is where I leave it. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, or subscribe. And I will see you in the next reading. Take care.